Here begins the interview with the devil. I have uncovered the secret code by which I can pick up your thoughts. I have come to ask you some very plain questions. I demand that you give me direct and truthful answers. Are you ready for the interview, Mr. Devil?
Yes, I am. But you must address me with more respect. During this interview, you will address me as Your Majesty.
Welcome back to No Narc Network TV, Oshun Ajay exclusive, and Bigo Live. I am the Oracle, Oshun Ajay, aka the Unraveler. Today we're going to begin unraveling the book by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. The reason for the study is that within the pages of this book is the antidote to narcissistic personality disorder, and so we're going to dive into it to prove what I already know. The fields of psychology and psychiatry have yet to find an effective treatment for narcissistic personality disorder. There are many psychologists and psychiatrists who won't even take on a case of narcissistic personality disorder due to the fact that the nature of the disorder itself causes the narcissist to immediately reject anything that would be conducive to their healing or growth, emotionally or mentally. A lot of psychologists and doctors have dealt with narcissistic personality disorder and have not really seen improvement. And so a lot of times they will refuse to take cases of narcissistic personality disorder because they simply feel that it is a waste of their time. The reason why therapists, doctors, and psychologists have not been as effective as they could be in dealing with a narcissist and trying to help them heal is because narcissism is not just an antisocial personality disorder like they have been taught, but narcissism is a spiritual affliction. So it is something that needs to be discerned spiritually and also dealt with and healed on the spiritual level. 3 things you will notice above all else with a narcissist, and that will be the extreme lack of empathy, the lack of self-discipline, and the lack of accountability. Because they do not self-reflect, they do not self-correct, they do not grow or change. They are in a state of arrested development, meaning that they stopped growing mentally and emotionally at the point when there was some childhood trauma that caused them to begin to vacate mentally and emotionally using escapism, at which point the devil came in and completely took over. So essentially, these people are unconscious and they are being controlled by something other than their own spirit. Before we go into it, I also want to mention, and it's very notable that you guys should really be questioning why this book was actually written in 1938, okay? And no one would publish the book for 73 years, okay? Again, and think about back when, again, they did not want certain people to read because there were certain things that they did not want you to learn about, okay? This was a book that was suppressed, okay? This was information that was suppressed for 73 years before anyone would agree to publish this book, okay? So keep in mind, there would be no reason to suppress this book or the information in this book if in fact there was not some very pertinent information in this book, okay? So again, this is a book that was written in 1938 that was not released to the public until June of 2011. Okay, so let's go ahead and into the interview.
During this interview, you will address me as Your Majesty. Your Majesty. Your Majesty.
By what right do you demand such royal respect?
You should know I control 98% of the people of your world. Do you not think that entitles me to rate as royalty?
So Napoleon Hill has discovered a method by which he can basically force the devil, who is a liar, to tell the truth. He's saying that he controls the minds of 98% of the world's population. This is not too far off of the ratio that I saw in my dream, where most of the world had become possessed, meaning they were narcissistic in nature, and there was only a handful of people who were empathic in nature. So that does look about the right percentage. But I also want you to understand that the devil is a liar. Again, I do believe that he is being forced in some sort of way to tell the truth. Okay? Just to stop and give you a side note on that.
Have you proof of your claim?
Yes, plenty of it.
Of what does your proof consist?
Of many things. If you want answers, you will address me as Your Majesty.
So as we move forward, I want you guys to pay attention to the similarities and the identical nature of the narcissist and the quote-unquote devil. So notice how the devil is demanding that he be placed in a certain status before he will cooperate with the interviewer. Anyone who's ever dealt with a narcissist knows that this is one of their favorite games to play. They will withhold or withdraw something that you want or need until you meet some demand of theirs. So just continue to notice going forward how the narcissist and the devil play the exact same mind games because it is the exact same spirit. It's also the reason why all narcissists share the same behavioral traits as well. Okay?
Some things you will understand, some you will not. In order that you may get my viewpoint, I shall describe myself and correct the false notions people have of me and my place of abode.
That is a fine idea, Your Majesty. Start by telling me where you live, then describe your physical appearance.
My physical appearance? Why, my dear Mr. Earthbound, I have no physical body. I would be handicapped by such an encumbrance as those in which you earthbound creatures live. I consist of negative energy, negative energy, negative energy.
So as we go forward, you guys, I want you to pay attention to when something is being said and when I loop it the way that I just did and I made him repeat what was being said. That is always going to be something that I need you to take note of, okay, and be very mindful of going forward in your walk, okay? Just a side note.
And I live in the minds of people who fear me.
He lives in the minds of the people who fear him. Okay. Very powerful statement, loaded with a lot of lessons for you. Okay. So whoever taught you that fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom was talking about their God. Okay. Not about the God, the creator God who created you from love. Okay. And who, does not mind you asking questions because he is the answer to every one of them. Okay. So the true and living God does not require fear. But I want you to listen to this devil tell you that he lives in the minds of the people who fear him. Okay. So if someone can put an image in your mind and you believe that image to be true, then this will be the form that the quote unquote devil, who has already admitted to you that he is just negative energy, will take. Okay. So he will take whatever form that you imagine him to look like. Okay. And knowing that, and imagine someone knowing that if they put an image in your mind that you're going to create it and make it real. Imagine someone putting that image on television or in a movie or in a book that you were reading, and understanding that once you accepted that image as representing that energy, that you would help participate using your own energy, unknowingly using your own mind power to help give a form to this quote unquote energy. Okay. I also want y'all to think about the movie Bird Box. And if you haven't seen it, see it. It was on Netflix when I saw it. It may still be there. But it basically, what was happening in the movie Bird Box was that this energy was basically formless, the way that it was represented in the movie, but it was moving about and doing lots and lots of damage. And this is the same energy that we speak of as the devil. Okay. And basically the devil is telling you that he lives in your mind, and that the fear of him has been placed there in some sort of way. Okay, even in church, they will place the fear of the devil in your mind, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that and about church and all of that as well, because there are a lot of devils in church. But I do not want to get off of the subject. Back to the book, and also, you guys, I am going to be cutting these videos up into smaller chunks so that they are digestible, so that the videos are not too long, and so that with each lesson going forward, that you guys are able to fully again digest the information and be able to utilize it in a practical way going forward on your path. Okay.
I also occupy 1/2 of every atom of physical matter and every unit of mental and physical energy. Perhaps you will better understand my nature if I tell you I am the negative portion of the atom.
Okay, so here is an illustration of what the parts of an atom look like. Okay, so I want y'all to think about the red pill, blue pill, the red and blue lights, and all of that. Okay, so the proton with the big blue ball has the positive charge, and it is the large charge. Okay, and then the electron is the small red charge, which the devil is saying that he represents. Okay, so he represents the small electron part of the atom, which represents the negative element in everything in creation. Okay. And though his charge is very small, as you can see, he still claims to control 98% of your minds. So, just think about that.
Oh, I see what you are preparing to claim. You are laying the foundation to say that if it were not for you, there would be no world, no stars, no electrons, no atoms, no human beings, nothing. Is that correct?
True. Absolutely true.
Well, if you only occupy 1/2 of energy and matter, who occupies the other half?
The other half is occupied by my opposition.
Opposition? What do you mean?
The opposition is what you earthbound call God.
So you have the universe divided up with God. Is that your claim?
Not my claim, but the actual fact. Before this interview is finished, you will understand why my claim is true. You will also understand why it has to be true, or there could be no world such as yours, no earthbound creatures such as you. I am no beast with a forked tongue and a spiked tail.
But you do control the minds of 98 out of every 100 people. You said so yourself. Who causes all the misery in this 98% devil-controlled world if you do not?
I have not said that I do not cause all the misery of the world. On the other hand, I boast of it. It is my business to represent the negative side of everything, including the thoughts of you earthbound people. How else could I control people? My opposition controls positive thought. I control negative thought.
How do you gain control of the minds of people?
Oh, that is easy. I merely move in and occupy the unused space of the human brain. The unused space of the human brain. The unused space of the human brain. I sow the seeds of negative thought in the minds of people so I can occupy and control the space.
So he sows the seeds of negative thoughts in the minds of people so that he can occupy and control the space. Okay, so let's think about this, okay, because anytime the seeds have been thrown, this means that they have not grown yet, okay, but they have gone into the fertile soil of your mind, which is more magical than you know, okay. So when these seeds are thrown, what you will experience is worries about things that may happen in the future, things that may materialize in the future. These are the seeds of negativity, okay. So anytime you're worrying about something that has not happened yet, then you are nurturing those seeds of negativity that have been placed in your mind. Okay. And he needs those to grow in order for him to occupy and to control the space. Okay. So this knowledge is very valuable to have if you understand that any worries that you have about the future are seeds that you should need to throw out of your mind instead of nurturing by giving it your energy and giving it your focus. Okay. Because that is the way that the power of your own mind is being used against you. Okay, so I hope that the visual, and I hope that this is getting through in some sort of way. And if you're not getting it, go back and watch the video, because I'm going to help you to dig these seeds up by the root. Okay.
You must have many tricks and devices by which you gain and hold control of the human mind.
To be sure, I employ tricks and devices to control human thought. My devices are clever ones, too.
Go ahead and describe your clever tricks, Your Majesty.
One of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people, and as these seeds germinate and grow, through use, I control the space they occupy. The 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death.
Which of these 6 fears serves you most often, Your Majesty?
The first and the last, poverty and death. At one time or another during life, I tighten my grip on all people through one or both of these. I plant these fears in the minds of people so deftly that they believe them to be their own creation. I accomplish this end by making people believe I am standing just beyond the entrance gate of the next life, waiting to claim them after death for eternal punishment. Of course, I cannot punish anyone, except in that person's own mind, through some form of fear. But fear of the thing which does not exist is just as useful to me as fear of that which does exist. But fear of the thing which does not exist is just as useful to me as fear of that which does exist.
So your fear of the thing that does not exist is just as useful to the devil as your fear of the thing that does exist. Meaning that if you believe a lie to be true and you feel fear because of that lie, it will be just as real to you and be just as useful to the devil against you as if it were actually there. So it's all about what you accept into your mind to be true, because your mind is, again, a magical box that whatever you put into it, you give it life and you make it real. Okay. The enemy knew this before you knew this. Okay. But now that you know this, the ultimate goal is to reclaim total power and total control over your own mind.
All forms of fear extend the space I occupy in the human mind. All forms of fear extend the space I occupy in the human mind. All forms of fear extend the space I occupy in the human mind.
So I hope that we understand why the Most High instructed his people to fear not, because fear and love are opposing forces. God is love and fear is not of God. Okay? Fear is a tool used by the enemy to capture and control the minds of those who fear him. Hence the acronym false evidence appearing real. Okay, this is exactly what the quote unquote devil uses to trap you into believing something that's not true, into fearing something that's not true, thereby giving it your power and breathing life into it. Okay, so the parts where I looped it and certain things were repeated, I would say go over those, take notes, and do some deep pondering on those points that were made. Okay, and we are just getting started. So welcome to all of the new subs, to the new people who are going to be joining the No Narc Network. And I do want you guys to know that going forward, as we get more advanced in these lessons on dissecting the devil, a lot of some of the classes are going to be posted only in the No Narc Network, okay, in the private group. For obvious reasons. And so, but for now, enjoy. We will be going forward, just dissecting the book piece by piece. The points that were made, and the reason for this again is because in this book is the anecdote to narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, so from here on out, we are speaking of, when we speak of the devil, we are also speaking of the spirit that your narc is playing host to, okay? And you will find the behavior being identical, okay? So I'm going to leave you guys with that to think about for the evening. I may come back with another lesson. Either way, until we meet again, my people, keep it classy, keep it clean, and do what you got to do to make shit happen. Peace.